The side effects from, low nutrients can be really severe for people. And it really is the foundation and such an easy delivery system. And even people that are a little shy of needles, we have, over-the-counter supplements, liquid forms. But it really is like getting an insulin injection. It's that painless and that easy to come in. There was landlords that were willing to work with small businesses. They wanted to see people succeed during that time. And so we were able to negotiate leases and be in parts of the Bay Area, which is extremely expensive. I mean, you can't even touch a lease in San Francisco for under, $10,000, $13,000, $15,000 a month.
They either, hear about it through a friend, a family member. We have the Zenoti referral program set up a couple of years ago. We've increased the we've put some incentives in there for folks to refer more of their friends and family. But I'd say 45% of our new customers that are coming in are referrals.
Zenoti presents Growth Diaries, the fascinating stories behind the best brands in beauty, wellness, and fitness. Hosted by Sudheer Koneru.
What if taking charge of your health was as simple as a shot of wellness? According to Dr. Shannon Gallegos, it really can be that simple. As a trailblazer in proactive medicine and the CEO and founder of B12 LOVE, Dr. Shannon has dedicated her career to making vital nutrients accessible to everyone. Starting with pop-up events in yoga studios and therapist offices, Dr. Shannon and her husband, Armando, quickly realized their B12 nutrition shots were high in demand and could be the start of something inspirational. What began as small B12 happy hour gatherings grew into B12 LOVE, a thriving wellness brand with almost 9 locations and over 60,000 loyal clients across the Bay Area. Today, Dr. Shannon and Armando join us to share their inspiring story, the evolution of B12 LOVE, and how they're empowering others to take control of their health, one shot at a time. So thank you for making the time, Dr. Shannon and Armando, for being part of Growth Diaries.
Yeah, really excited.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
So I thought before we get started, because your business is pretty unique. I mean, I work with a lot of business in the industry, so maybe you should give a little color. What does B12 LOVE do? And expand on that.
So we're a lot more than just B12. So B12 is a water-soluble vitamin. And so we do nutrient injections and IV nutrient therapies. And we're also really trying to transition more into the longevity medicine space because the nutrients are the foundation of everything we do, but we really, our mission is really to make longevity medicine accessible to everybody. So,
cool.
A little more unique model.
Okay, great. And before starting this business, you were a naturopath person with a background in that. So maybe you should give a little color of what was your background, which resulted in, which transformed into this for us.
I mean, I think every company has a good story, and ours is no different. So I started as a midwife. That was my medical journey. I had a master's in nutrition, and so I was really familiar with all the nutrients, and I went to medical school here in Seattle. And when I would do just checkups with my pregnant mommies, it's a little colder, a little damper here. Cold and flus would go right to the chest. And there's not a lot for pregnancy, even over-the-counter supplements. You have to be really careful what you're giving pregnant women. So I started giving them B12 shots. And back then we had B12 and B-complex. And I just noticed such a difference in the postpartum recovery after I was giving them those foundational nutrients. I had almost no postpartum baby blues, and it was really obvious the women I were giving the injections to regularly versus the women I was not. Then fast forward, I moved to the Bay Area. I transitioned. I knew I wanted to be a cash-based practice, and just hung up my shingle in the Mission District of San Francisco. And we would have 90 people lined up around the corner to get a B12 injection every Friday. So that tipped us off that we were onto an idea and a concept. So that's really the foundation of where it started.
Cool. So the combination of being a midwife, working with people on this natural deficiency that I know a lot of people do have the B12 deficiency, but they don't act on it. A lot of doctors don't tell them.
60% of the population.
Yeah. You're not even then. So, I'm sure. I remember, I think my doctor also told me something, take some vitamins, and I'm not very good at it. But it's like, people ignore this, but it's a simple fix for a lot of issues.
It's a really easy fix, and the side effects from, low nutrients can be really severe for people. And it really is the foundation and such an easy delivery system. And even people that are a little shy of needles, we have, over-the-counter supplements, liquid forms. But it really is like getting an insulin injection. It's that painless and that easy to come in. It's about a 10-minute visit. So we really, like I said, it was our mission to make B12 accessible 13 years ago. Now it's our mission to really expand those services and make longevity medicine accessible.
So while Dr. Shannon had found at least this root issue, through her job, when did you decide, okay, this is something I need to get involved in, and there's something here? Right?
Yeah. Well, when she moved to Bay Area is kind of when we met, a few months after that, and so we were together when this baby of ours was born. She was, I was still working corporate America, corporate job, doing sales and marketing. And, but I was helping out a little bit with and obviously just being a support and a cheerleader, right? But when she started reporting back that there was, a lot of people, they were coming in for shots, I was like, well, maybe there's something else here. So we talked about doing a little bit more, just doing some online marketing around it, because a lot of that at that point was really just kind of people walking by and word of mouth. And since my background was kind of digital marketing and advertising, and I thought, well, let's build out a website. Let's start up let's build some Yelp listing, a Yelp listing. It was just one location at that point, a pop location, and so that was in 2013 is when we did 2012, and then we incorporated in 2013. And then I left my job in kind of the corporate world in 2016, January 2016, and that's when I kind of went all in. And we started to just open some more of these pop-ups, which is kind of where the business started. We would go into like-minded businesses, chiropractor's office, other naturopathic doctors, yoga studios, and we'd sublet space from them. We'd operate maybe on days that they weren't open or days that they were slow. So it was a kind of a win-win for both parties. And then we would cross-market as well. We'd say, hey, we're going to, hopefully have 20, 30, 40 people coming in here in the next 3 hours, While they're here, they can obviously see your business, take your cards, and we can kind of cross-promote. And so we did that for up until 2019 when we kind of opened our first brick and mortar location. That was our proof of concept. We already had a presence in San Francisco. We had at that point probably 4 or 5 different pop-ups around San Francisco. But one of the busier ones was in the Marina District. And so we found our little brick and mortar space. It was 700 square feet. And we wanted to, at that point, really expand our services because we had just really been doing shots. Shannon had already been doing some IVs in her private practice because we did have a separate space where it was more like her medical office. But we wanted to make the IVs, just like the shots, more accessible, right? And we wanted to be a brick and mortar. We wanted to have a lot of foot traffic. We felt like there was, already some demand that we saw from the pop-ups that we did. And so we took a chance, signed the lease, and within 12 months, that store did over $1 million in gross sales. And we're like, okay, there's definitely something here. Like we and that concept was like the injections, the IVs. We wanted to have a retail presence as well.
Yeah.
And so
that's interesting. So, this notion of it's a good advice for others also what you did, because Bay Area is a very expensive area in terms of real estate or anything, but the concept of using pop-ups, working with other businesses, convincing them that it's in mutual interest as well, it's all a very smart thing to do to establish and validate the idea. And I think that has also guided you over time in terms of as you open new stores, having done all these pop-ups gives you more information to know how you opened your stores, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. We use that as kind of, that was like our market research and our roadmap for the next, 5-7 years. At one point, we probably had 25 different pop-ups around the Bay Area. They weren't all going at once, but maybe I think there's probably close to 20 they were. And obviously as the business grew and the team grew. But one thing that really accelerated a lot of that or the shift from the pop-ups to the brick and mortars was the pandemic and COVID. So when that hit, we had to pivot a little bit because a lot of the businesses that we operated in had to close. And so we opened during the pandemic, we opened 6 stores.
18 months.
In 18 months. So we closed the pop-ups, we shifted to brick and mortars, and so it really accelerated kind of the longer plan because we have bootstrapped the business up to this point still, and
I think it's, I think a lot of, that was a rough time for so many people in this industry, obviously. But the positives I think you can gain out of that are we're very fortunate to still have our business, but also there was landlords that were willing to work with small businesses. They wanted to see people succeed during that time. And so we were able to negotiate leases and be in parts of the Bay Area, which is extremely expensive. I mean, you can't even touch a lease in San Francisco for under, $10,000, $13,000, $15,000 a month. So it allowed us to go into markets that normally we probably wouldn't, it wouldn't have been our prime location. And so I will say that there was some owners out there that we really admire and worked with, owners of buildings, owners of places that we could really have a great relationship with and that still support us today. So
that's good. I think that's a very good tip for people, doing pop-ups, doing co-marketing, working with other people. I mean, even if you didn't do pop-ups, working with you knew every such service business, yoga or massage and other things, so that you have all these affiliations with everyone saying, okay, now I'm opening a store here. Built all this network of thing is a good strategy in terms of getting out. And I think during COVID, post-COVID, I've heard of other business also finding the ability to get to space was a little easier because landlords were more open to it.
And I think it's a testament too to just the pop-up model. Because we just opened our 8th location in Pleasanton. And, when we're going through our email lists and our populations, we already had 2,000 people in that community. So we're not starting from scratch. You're not just, we're going to open up and see how things go. We already have market research. We already have a dedicated clientele there. That we know is probably going to resurge if they haven't visited us. And then we can do really targeted marketing to that part of the community. So I think, when you live in an expensive area like New York or San Francisco, Miami, I think the pop-up is it was a really great strategy for us. So.
Great. So I have had the opportunity to meet and interview folks who are like you, husband and wife doing a business or two sisters doing a business. But how do you make sure there's clarity between you two as to, okay, you do that and I'm going to do this kind of stuff, so you don't get into fights at home?
Well, as our business grew, we also have 4 boys. We have 4 children, 11 and under. So I think that's a testament that we're still getting along, but I think just knowing, Armando knew what I was good at, and I know what he's good at, and maybe that's why we married each other. But I think, I'm definitely the visionary. I look way far ahead. I love the digging deep into the longevity space and the medical aspects of things. I love training. I love teaching. I love finding new products. I love that whole visionary pathway. And I am not good at technology. I would hate running payroll. I'm not. And so Armando, with his sales and marketing background, I mean, for a long time, that was the marketing team. He was sitting right here. And now we do have a marketing team, fortunately. But I think just, just allowing your spouse or your sister or your business partner to really, when you don't agree on it, then just take a step back, maybe see why you're so emotionally charged around it, take a step back, and then just look at the bigger vision of the business. What is the best for the business? What's the best decision? And I think, obviously, we've operated really well that way. It is hard to turn it off, though, I will say. Like at night, we're still like, did you make that phone call? Did you order that at 11 o'clock at night? It's really hard to separate and set boundaries around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think, Shannon just hit the nail on the head there. I think we really, we knew early on, like where our strengths were and maybe some of our weaknesses, right? And so we've really kind of leaned into those. And I think the other thing that's really helped is, I mean, obviously there's a lot of we have shared values and core values.
Yeah.
But I think we knew that we really wanted to be really customer service focused and create a really unique experience at B12 Love. We both have kind of service and customer service backgrounds before we went into the professions that we did. Mm-hmm. And so that has always been kind of something that's paramount, not only the client experience, but also the staff experience, right? I'd say more so the staff experience and the client experience is right below it, because if you have happy staff, and it's going to translate to happy clients.
So before starting B12 Love, you had a whole marketing experience, and B12 Love is a more focused business. It started off, of course, with shots and then adding IVs, etc. So how did you approach, and how did your skills come to value in terms of the, launching the marketing of the business?
Yeah. Well, I think, Shannon being a naturopathic doctor, there's a lot of things that, they want to do the root cause and really, take deep dives into people's health, which is fantastic. But there was also a lot of doctors kind of in her profession who they were trying to do everything. And once we realized that there's this market for the shots, I was like, we just really need to go just narrow and deep, like just focus on the shots, do the happy hours, right? And just build our audience, right? And just market around like, this is what we do. This is our specialty. And then, obviously as we started to grow and started to attract customers and have, big supporters of the business, it was much easier to then, cross-sell and introduce new services that, really aligned with our core services, right? But it made it just, just
a lot easier.
I
think it's great too when you have a business that's a customer service based business, that your clients tell you what they want. I mean, they come in because they trust you so much. They're bringing you like, hey, have you heard of this? Or would you investigate this for me? So you're constantly doing research. And I'm not saying latching on to the newest thing, because that can steer you off track. But just listening to your clients, maybe doing a survey once in a while. Are you happy with the services? What other services would you love to see us introduce? And I think it's so important. And when you have a loyal client base like that, it's so easy. It's really just such a great footprint, to bring in other services.
And I think some of the best businesses have been built by going narrow and deep kind of thing, like you have blow dry businesses. They only do a blow dry, and that's why they're successful kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's good that is the case. But then you have slowly evolved what you do, but in an incremental way, as you said, in listening to your clients as well, asking them what do they look for. Yeah. But can you share how you've evolved? What else have you added, whether it's retail, whether it's how it comes together in what you're trying to do for your clients?
Yeah, thank you. So the retail was pretty easy because a lot of in a lot of all of our spaces were in a prime, retail setting. And so we're not zoned for medical. Our business is, you can walk in services. And so working with a lot of the cities in the Bay Area, our space, 30 to 40% had to be retail. It has to be that in the front of the building, because you want to make sure you're giving, you're pleasing the city as well. And so it was really easy for us to build out that retail space. And the supplement industry is a little rogue in terms of what is out there. So, being a naturopathic doctor for 20 years, it was really easy for me to vet and make sure we're just bringing in the highest quality supplements. We're making sure we're vetting every vendor that we're bringing in. There's not a lot of fillers, dyes, things like that in our retail space. So that was pretty easy transition. And then because of my transition from a midwife and working in the business, I did, fertility for many years, a lot of women's health. I've been prescribing bioidentical hormones for almost 20 years. So it was really easy for me to have the vision into the longevity space and see our clients are already asking us, what else can I do? I feel so good when I come in. How do I keep this feeling going? Or what else can I add in? We've been doing nutritional testing and functional medicine testing for 20 years. So it's really easy to be able to add those services in. What's hard is how do we make it a little quicker, right? Because a traditional, true naturopathic visit can be an hour and a half. You're doing a deep dive. You're asking about their whole life history. The Bay Area is pretty fast paced. They don't always want to spend all that time. They want it yesterday. So how do we meet in the middle and still get a really good service, still be able to do diligence and do a good intake with our clients, but also provide them with a great functional medicine treatment plan. And so that's been harder, but I feel like we've navigated a great, we're navigating it well. We do a 20, 40, 60-minute consultation now. We're bringing in our own in-house testing. So we're not doing the testing, but we're working with one lab. We've private labeled with them so somebody can just go in off the shelf and do a functional medicine test or do a nutrient test or test their vitamin D. They do a simple finger poke. They do it at home. They take it with them. And now we can give them some information. We can work together. Okay, now that your vitamin D is only 20, we want it 60 to 80, we really need to put you on a kind of a rigorous treatment plan to come in for the next 6 to 8 weeks weekly for injections. And since that's low, we probably know your Bs are low. So let's, come in and do the IVs as well. And then the peptide space is amazing. So I literally just got off a plane from Boston last night to do a master peptide certification. And so that's really the next big area of our business is the peptide space, which we're really excited to introduce.
So while she's been expanding these services and is very particular about doing these things, in terms of scaling that, Armando, how have you been able to hire and think about processes to bring about the scale? Because she doing it well is one thing, but now you have to figure out how everybody's going to do it well.
Totally. Yeah. Well, that's why we sometimes we let Shannon know she needs to pump the brakes a bit. We need to get the right system in place, the right software. We need to have the training, and a big thing at our business is the training and the training of the staff. We invest a lot in not only training in the initial onboarding, but during the year, we have annual trainings that we do, and then the services before we roll them out, we get buy-in from the different providers that we have, the service providers, the nurses, the doctors, to let them know hey, here's what we're thinking. How do you all feel about this? Where do we need support? And then of course we're doing the market research too. Yeah, we're hearing but is there a demand for this stuff? Are people searching for this? Are there competitors in the space that are doing some of this? What is out there? So it's a little bit of a process, right? But it's we definitely do the due diligence around that.
And in terms of hiring people in your space, is it super easy or how is it? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to think through who are the people you're hiring there. Absolutely nurses or?
It's traditionally nurses. We have 5 naturopathic doctors on staff also. And so that is a unique aspect of our business is that there usually is a doctor on site. They rotate, on locations, but so it's not always just a virtual visit. I really still love the concept of human interaction. And so, but it definitely, we need to vet our staff a little careful because we are an experience-based business, a customer service-based business. So Armando, we always look for somebody with a customer service background. So, because you can have a great RN. She's been in the emergency room for 15 years. She can get any vein. But what if she's not very friendly? Or what if she's just in that, okay, next. And that's not really what we hire for. We want somebody that's going to sit down. How are you today? How are things going? What's your goal in terms of coming in to see us today? Mm-hmm. And we need that type of interaction with every single client that walks in the door. And that's why I think we've been so successful in our referral program and our marketing program is because you want somebody to be able to come back.
But that's great. So you actually look for that in their resume, not just the registered nurse.
Ask for it because it's never in their resume. You got to dig for it a little.
They might have worked at a restaurant.
Yeah, they were hostess. They were were a personal trainer or waited tables all throughout college. Was a barista at a main coffee company.
So you're looking for stuff which they don't put on their resume.
They don't put on their resume. Yeah. You got to kind of dig for it, but you'll see it shine in the interview right away. Yep. So
that's a good tip for everybody else also out there. They should look for those kinds of things because they probably make for good customers care people.
Yeah. And then our staff is like our family. It's really important for us to hire well, but once you get that amazing staff member, you have to keep them. So you have to make sure that you're giving them the training, you're giving them opportunities to advance their careers. We have a few LVNs that work for us, and they just started their RN program. So of course, we're like, what can we do? How can we support you? What time do you need off? How, your vacations are going to look different. Your scheduling is going to look different. You need daycare now. So I think it's just really important to constantly challenge your staff for their career journeys and make sure that you're always supporting them in their own journeys and their career paths.
Yeah. I think that I've heard before as well, which is I think somewhere else once that your employees tend to have changing goals. So making sure that you're meeting them where their goals are is an important element to keep staying with you and working with you. Great. Yeah. So coming back to again now marketing a little bit, you were alluding to referrals, etc. Mm-hmm. But do you want to break down, Armando, where do your clients come from? Like your overall marketing, what person come from here and some of the online channels. Yep. And you've also put in a lot of effort around your online channels. It's also that. If you're enjoying the show, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and it helps others find the podcast. You can also follow along on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Absolutely, yeah. So, the majority of our new customers come from word referrals, right? They either hear about it through a friend, a family member. We have the Zenoti referral program set up. Set that up a couple of years ago. We've increased the incentive. We've put some incentives in there for folks to refer more of their friends and family. Mm-hmm. But I'd say 45% of our new customers that are coming in are referrals. Mm-hmm. We also, we do a lot of content on our website, so we're pretty active on our blog. We're active on social media. I'd say about 20% of our new clients are finding us online through like a Google search or some type of online research. Mm-hmm. And then we've also, as we mentioned earlier, our stores, our brick and mortars are all in kind of high foot traffic areas. Oh. So we, instead of like spending a lot on advertising, we're spending on the real estate because 15 to 20% of our new clients are finding us from walking by. They may walk by, for a month and then they finally like, hey, I finally decided to come in and check you out, right? And so that's where we see a lot of, new clients and new customers as well. So I think that's a good tip. One is, spending money on good real estate because, and I think some businesses have chosen that kind of a strategy to make sure they just get high traffic. Mm-hmm. But your 45% number through referrals is like, pretty, I would say, at the top end of what I've seen. And so there must be something right you do in the store that people refer you so much. And, of course, there's a I would like to claim there's a technology element, but I'm sure it is more the quality of what you all do in the store that's translating that. But I do think service industries can invest even more time and resource around getting more referrals.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad that you've been able to drive quite a bit of traffic between the quality of the experience, your location, so that you're not as dying for spending a lot of marketing money out there.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. And in terms of going forward, where do you see this business evolving in terms of the category? It's a narrower category and all that. So,
Yeah.
We feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's just a booming space. This whole like functional medicine or proactive medicine or IV therapy. I mean, we kind of there's a couple of different categories we feel we fall into, there's some bigger players kind of emerging, right, that are just creating more credibility and kind of, awareness around these types of services. We feel like we have a pretty good presence in the Bay Area. There's still a lot of opportunity in the Bay Area, but we're just excited to continue to just offer these services, more of these services, and reach more people and make this more accessible. But
yeah, and I think given the nature of what you do, and it's so specific, when we were last talking, I thought it can be a fairly big market, even just if you take California and Bay Area in terms of the potential of where this can be. Kind of thing.
We've had a lot of people reach out in different states, and obviously there's a franchise opportunity with, our 9th store is opening literally on Tuesday. But it was really important to us to make sure that we had something, because I ethically can't go and sell somebody a business when we haven't proven the model. And, we've gone to a lot of franchise conferences, and you'll meet these franchisors and they have like 1 store or 2 stores. And I'm like, how do you even, that 1 store is doing $3 million, but how do you know it's going to prove itself in other markets? And so we've really taken our time there, because I think we could have pushed the franchise button much earlier. But I feel like we really wanted to make sure that we had something. We have our processes in place. We have a playbook, for new owners coming in. We want to empower new owners. How are we doing hiring? We want to be able to have that really solid foundation when we're handing this over to someone, that they're going to succeed. And I think that's really important. It's important to us ethically. We both align on that. And I do think California is a huge market. The Board of Pharmacy can be challenging, and other bodies to navigate. And California can be kind of scary because we regulate everything here. But, we're in a good space. We've really channeled the Bay Area. And I think focusing on some more California locations, and then we'll kind of see where we go.
Oh, nice. I agree with you that I think you definitely have a model which is well proven at the scale at which you're running it completely on your own. That your business should be franchisable, because the business is also well defined in terms of the category of the service. It's a niche space, which, and those kinds of models generally are successful with the franchising approach. So hopefully that works out, let's say. Given your experience, I wonder if somebody else was trying to start being an entrepreneur, and not necessarily just your category, I'm talking about in the Medspa space, trying to be an entrepreneur. You've been doing this, you work with clients. What would you give them as advice right now?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I think just hire well, honestly. Well, first of all, love what you do. So I've been doing the injections, like I said, over 20 years. I believe in the work that we're doing. I love what I do every day. I love going to work. I feel excited. I know Armando feels excited. And even though we have a crazy family life and we work, 80 hours a week, it doesn't feel like work when you really love what you do. So I feel like if you're not passionate about it, you're like, or you don't really believe in what you're doing, you're not gonna really succeed. You might have a successful one location, but people really sense that authenticity and that passion behind the business. And then when you can hire your staff that feel that they're never going to quite feel your passion, but they feel that honor about the business. They're just as excited to be there. You treat them well. You take care of them. That's going to resonate. And that's the way to me, that is one of the most important things you're going to build the business. And of course, safety, efficacy, following all the rules, making sure that you have a sustainable business, that, you're not growing too fast, which I'm like, let's go. And my whole team has to reel me back in. Dr. Shannon, come on. We talked about that. But I think those are some of the most important things. Armando.
Yeah. I mean, that was great. I mean,
especially loving what you do is an important element, which, kind of is not just about what others see into it, but if you may not get too far if you don't love what you do. It's because I think building a business has enough challenges. I'm sure, as she was alluding to, she wants to get a lot of stuff done, but there's practical things and hold it back, kind of thing. So great. And I think we talked about this, Linda. Is there a company or something that stands out that either of you look up to, whether in our space or otherwise?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple. There's more than a couple, but we really want to try to provide this amazing experience, and so we look to other businesses that really focus on that guest experience, client experience. So companies like the Ritz-Carlton, Nordstrom's, they say even like retailers like Costco or Trader Joe's, right? Those are some of the businesses that we're kind of like trying to see and trying to think like, how can we apply some of what they do? Sprinkle some of what they do on B12 Love.
Great. But your focus on customer experiences shows up in terms of what I think that's what we're passionate about in your space.
I wanted to thank you last year for the conference, because the speaker and the Ritz-Carlton, that was incredible, honestly. And we went home and bought that book. And as I was reading it, I was like, and to learn what an experience-based business truly is, which I had never read that in depth about, it just resonated so much. And so I think that it's no coincidence that this year is a year of immense growth for us. We've redone a location. We've added 1,200 square feet to another location, and we're opening a new location. And I think when you just reignite, whatever it is, you just reignite that fire again, like, okay, we're on the right path. Let's do this. And honestly, that experience last year really helped fuel this year of success that we've had. So we really want to thank you for that.
Glad. Tomorrow also we have somebody talking around this whole service space, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But interesting that among the companies you mentioned, Costco and Nordstrom, both are in Seattle. So
that's right.
they have something to offer to the world.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah. And you see, running such a business, and of course you're taking care of how other people feel and, making them feel good. But you, as you said, you have 4 kids and, running a business. How do you balance your own personal wellness?
Oh, that's a great question. That's the exact question of why I went to naturopathic medical school, to be honest with you. And as interviewing, other medical schools never asked me that question, and Bastyr University did. So I think it's difficult. I think you just have to carve time for self-love. We definitely have to carve time away to be husband and wife. I think you can get off path a little bit easily, and just like it's like, wow, it's been 3 months since I went and got an IV. What am I doing? I own this company. I'm so exhausted. I'm tired. I haven't been sleeping. I know all the things. Yeah. So I think just we do a big goal setting every year. We start in November and just always are strategizing, not just with the business goals, but with our personal family goals. And I think that kind of helps keep us on track once a quarter, just opening that set of notes and looking at what our family goals are together. So.
Date nights too. We have a dozen. Wednesdays are date night, Well, it's date nights or it's PTA or board meetings that we have as well. But then we try to do some date nights.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, somebody actually advised me the same. I used to be before this when I was working, things used to be busy, but one of the people I look up to, he advised me saying, no, you should have a date night every week. Doesn't matter kind of thing. I didn't have that kind of any discipline, but he was like, that brings sanity kind of thing and stability.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think when you turn off the business when you truly can, because we have a really hard time doing that. But this summer we had 2 times where we had a week and we're just like, okay, staff, we're going to turn things off. It reignites you. You feel, you come back, you feel refreshed, you feel excited again. Your brain is functioning in a different way. So I think it's vital that even as CEO and COO and owners and co-founders, you have to step away to kind of reignite the vision. And I feel it's important.
That's interesting. You use the word switch off, right? Because somebody else also today was using the same word, which is that you do need to find windows where you switch off the business. So then, it's just a rejuvenating time for personally kind of thing. Great. So if I had to ask you in a sentence or two, why should someone choose B12 LOVE? What would you say? If you're enjoying the show, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and it helps others find the podcast. You can also follow along on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode.
I know, first of all, that just our client experience is superior. So just, and we've visited a lot of other IV clinics. I know what else is out there. We're truly doing nutrient therapies. So we're not just, putting a cc of something in a hydration bag and slamming 2 liters of fluid in somebody. We really do care about their goals and making sure that their wellness journey is really supported. I think the experience is a pampering one when you come to B12 LOVE. There's medical professionals on site, so you feel like you can ask questions, really make sure that your concerns are vetted and heard. And I just think we offer the best service.
These things seem like small, but you've been successful with, using very simple strategies without burning up a lot of money. A lot of people end up, spending a lot of money. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I think that both of the skill sets were very fortunate. I don't know how I would do it by myself. I wouldn't. I would have to hire a Armando, and Armando would have to hire a me. So that's sometimes when you figure out the right partnership, the right business partnership, friendship, like I said, sisters, brothers, family, yeah, it works.
Great. So thanks a lot for making the time. And it was very educational, Dr. Shannon and Armando, in terms of how many ways you were able to get this business going with an organic way and self-bootstrapped it, being smart about your strategies like pop-ups and, how you've gone about acquiring customers and the obsession with getting referrals, which means obsession with customer experience, and so you're doing something right. So there's a lot for people to know that if you can get 45% customers from referrals, every other business should be aspiring for that kind of service delivery quality kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Growth Diaries is brought to you by Zenoti.